You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 40. I'm Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnhart.
All right, so today we've got a nice little block of Captain America to start the show off with. We have Captain America number 145, and the story is Skyjacked, written by Gary Friedrich, with art by Gil Kane and John Romita Sr.
Yeah. One thing, skyjacking, no one knows about this now, but back in the 70s, you had about a 5 or 10% chance of being hijacked when you're on an airplane. It was huge. There were hundreds of hijackings during that time.
Well, sure, and the term really came into the lexicon, because of D.B. Cooper and a number of copycats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so it's a sign of the times or reflecting what's going on. Something that people may not know. All right.
I can dig it.
Yeah. We have Hydra going against Captain America. Hydra has a camera in Captain America's bedroom.
Of course.
And they have cameras in SHIELD headquarters. So
I think because they have a plant in SHIELD.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have many plants. So we found out about one of them.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Yeah. At this time, SHIELD has got the if I'm remembering the story correctly, SHIELD has the Fem Force. It's like the all-chick agents group, and one of them is a mole from Hydra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Captain America gets upset somehow in his bed, and he calls Agent 13. A very nice, silent montage of images of them getting ready and traveling to SHIELD.
Yeah, and Agent 13, Sharon Carter, that's Cap's woman. So... Great character.
Mm-hmm. We have Agent 14, and I thought she was going to be the villain or the turncoat because she has solid black hair with a big white streak. That's usually a sign of evil.
That's true.
The Cruella de Vil, the
Bride of
Girl, and Josie and the Pussycats.
The Bride of Frankenstein. Although she wasn't really a villainess, but a victim, really. Mm-hmm. But... yeah, and that chick, Agent 14, she figured prominently, at least for a while, in the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. book.
But she's got her eyes on Cap, so she's a villain in Agent 13's eyes.
Yeah. And, of course, ever cantankerous Nick Fury is not too crazy about the whole Fem Force idea. Mm-hmm. And we see his right-hand man, Dum Dum Dugan, but he doesn't really play much into this story.
I love Nick Fury. He's great.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they get attacked and they have a huge
S.H.I.E.L.D.
fight.
gets attacked by Hydra.
Right. Mm-hmm. And they find out it was just, they didn't even, Agent 22 or something like that, and then, there's no lead up to it, so you never met the turncoat agent.
Right. It was a bait and switch. You were led to think it was Agent 14, mm-hmm. and then it turns out to be this other nameless agent who was the mole. Right. But I think that's kind of cool. Getting to think it's one way and turns out to be another. The Falcon has a brief appearance in this. He's not really, prominent in this issue. But I always liked him as Cap's partner. He's cool. Mm-hmm. And in the battle with the Hydra, it appears that Sharon has been killed in action, and the issue kind of ends with them. Cap. He's going to have to, avenge her, and he's furious,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course she didn't die, but,
Chapter 2 begins with a very nice splash page, and very well done. Bunch of nice fighting, and I don't know. Yeah. I like big, cool splash pages, so they're done well. And this is done well.
And I always enjoy Hydra. Cap against, a whole bunch of Hydra henchmen. I could read 100 issues like that, and it's loads of fun.
Mm-hmm. I like their uniforms. They're kind of goofy, but the Hydra uniforms.
Oh, with the green and then the yellow kind of H that goes around. Yeah, it's. I like their uniforms. I like AIM's uniforms. Those like beekeeper suits.
Oh. Okay.
I'm sure we'll see that at some point, if not today.
I wish all bad guys wore uniforms so you could tell them apart. There was a good reason why combatants in civilian uniforms well, 50 to 100 years ago, they were automatically shot on the battlefield.
Sure.
So, because it's not playing fair. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
very good. I enjoy this immensely.
Well, good. I'm very glad.
Yeah.
So we've got Captain America number 159, and this is Turning Point by Steve Englehart and written by and art by the great Sal Buscema. Um, this is a cool issue.
Yeah. There's some. Oh, yeah. Got some. Oh man, it's kind of complicated. We wake up and Captain America is he's in mufti, as they say. He's Steve Rogers out dressed up, and he's been captured by these two cops. And when he wakes up, he sees their misshapen faces, long faces, ugly and misshapen, terrible in their intensity. Says the one of them looks exactly like Nixon in this. And
Yeah.
so, but he doesn't look like Nixon in real life. So it's kind of in the
Yeah.
next page. It was interesting. Well, Cap escapes and gets on his uniform
And he comes into among a robbery with about 4 or 5 supervillains. We've
yeah.
got the Scarecrow, the Porcupine, the Eel, and Plant Man.
Two of those are good names. Two or not. So
Which are you referring to?
I like Scarecrow. That's a great character. I've always liked him. He's a whoa. It's a different Scarecrow then. I'm totally
Marvel has a Scarecrow and DC has a Scarecrow,
yeah.
and they're totally different guys. This one, it's not. I don't think he has like a fear.
I think he has birds.
Yeah, he has trained birds. That's his deal. And I think he had like something fear-based much later, like a pheromone or something.
Mm-hmm. That's still a cool name.
Yeah.
The Eel is a good name, I think.
Yeah.
Plant Man, not so much. Porcupine, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, these guys are not good. They're not great villains.
But
But a bunch of villains. This is like, what is this? A Flash story of a bunch of goofy villains.
mm-hmm.
But it works. So anyway, Cap and Falcon kind of fight these guys, and they're working for this guy called the Cowled Commander.
Mm-hmm.
And as Cap and the Falcon track these guys down,
Mm-hmm. The Falcon and his sassy girlfriend.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice bird battle. You don't see those in.
Yeah, and this is funny. This is before the Falcon got his wings. This is when he still has the grappling hook and he swings around.
Mm-hmm.
I like he's got Red Wing and he fights with the Scarecrow's crows.
Yeah.
But it's cool. The Cap and the Falcon come upon the villain's hideout, and they fight these guys against all these odds,
Mm-hmm.
and the Crimson Commander who had hired these guys turns out to be
one of the cops who had captured him.
Yeah, this guy, he was stirring up trouble because he thought the cops were looking bad. The department was looking bad. He wanted to I don't know, bring the. Can you explain that a little better than me? I'm sorry.
Oh, when he got captured at the beginning, they thought that Steve Rogers was a dirty cop.
Right.
But actually, if you've seen the movie Magnum Force, where this group of cops, they kill the criminals because they're getting free, and it's kind of similar to that. But and it was kind of complicated. The bad guy. Tries to make it even more corrupt so people will fix the police department. That's what
that's right. But his whole plan backfired. He created this supervillain identity for him, and he hired some like second or third string, loser supervillains.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a really cool story. Lots of colorful costumes, lots of action, and it's a neat plot. This is a great issue obviously this is a second and final part of something, but this works as a one and done, like as a nice single issue to pick up. Right. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have Captain America number 188. It's Druid War, written by John Warner and with art by Sal Buscema and Vince Colletta.
Yeah, here we have Cap fighting Alchemoid. He um, he uses unstable alchemical reactions.
Yeah, and he's the hench creation of this guy, the Druid, who has a ridiculous costume. He looks like the it looks like the Fraternal Order of the Sacred Buffalo or whatever from the Flintstones.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh my. And Falcon's been taken over by the Red Skull.
yeah, he's the Red Skull's messing with the Falcon's mind. He's in the hospital at this point.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen Druids considered villains since I read I Claudius. So,
Oh,
and maybe Richard Lester's film Help as well. Um,
wasn't that the Beatles? Is that the Beatles help?
yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one Beatles movie I didn't
Someone
see.
said in the book, someone said, "Oh, let's go watch a Richard Lester film," and was it Help or Three Musketeers? I'm not sure which one they're talking about this time, but I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
Help because the villain is Druid, so,
Well, that makes sense.
played by the great Leo McKern.
Well,
Um,
okay.
okay, pretty good. There's we have a Twinkies alert.
Oh, we're gonna stop for a Hostess fruit pie ad or a Twinkie ad?
Yeah. The evil guy is going to blow a hole in the ocean
Blow a hole.
to flood the whole world. I don't understand it either, but that's kind of weird.
Are you sure it's in this issue? I
I'm
see you
pretty
thumbing
sure. I
through.
thought I did. I was looking for it, and I'm not finding it.
Well, let's.
Oh,
Oh,
here we are.
oh, it's Nitro, Captain Marvel, the Marvel Comics Captain Marvel, and Nitro, and it's so funny. This is great because Nitro was the reason Captain Marvel got cancer and died. Because this guy was Nitro, the living bomb,
Mhm.
and this famous Hostess Twinkie ad makes me think like, was it Nitro or was it the Twinkies? You know?
Yeah. I they're using. I'm always amused because when people are eating Twinkies, they stick their tongue out going up, and this is
Yeah.
the universal. I guess they're licking their lips,
Yeah, I think that's
but
what it
I
is.
rarely see people doing that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess he wanted to show some motion of eating because you
Yeah.
don't see that a lot in comics. You know, like eating a
Yeah.
sandwich or
Actually,
whatever.
the henchman eating looks pretty cool,
Yeah,
and I do like this villain. So
Nitro. He is an excellent villain.
mhm.
Um,
Easily defeated by Twinkies.
yeah,
How much money could we save the Pentagon if
yeah.
we use the Twinkies?
I do love the Hostess ads when they use villains from comics rather than like really lame ones they made up for the ad.
Yeah, there's another one, K9, which is a guy dressed up like a dog.
Yeah.
So
So what was the resolution of the Captain America story though?
he won.
He won. Okay.
What do you want to know? Oh, he beats up this
The Druid and,
yeah,
and the
druid and all
Alchemist.
this. Yeah, they
Excuse me.
fight, and it's a fairly good fight.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say about it.
it's all right.
But
So on to Captain America number 209.
oh, question.
Oh,
I was looking at the ad for T-shirts, and there's 4 T-shirts: Captain America, Thor, Spider-Man, and Hulk. So I am guessing that these are the most popular Marvel heroes.
or those that at the time that Marvel felt were the most marketable, or
Yeah,
that were
well,
approached by a licensing company
mhm.
or whatever.
I just found that I never thought Captain America was that super popular, but he's on a lot of T-shirts. That means something.
Sure, I mean
They're not going to put.
Captain America is it's kind of like Superman. There's more people that wear Superman T-shirts than read Superman comics.
No, that's true.
You know, he's a symbol. And you can say that for a lot of comic book characters. I mean, Captain America would be for a solo Marvel hero. He and Daredevil would be the ones that I would buy a shirt of
Yeah.
personally. So it's going to vary from person to person.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting thing to speculate on.
Yeah. I was just surprised that.
Yeah.
I don't know who else I'd put on there.
I don't know. I think they did ones of Conan and Fantastic Four and stuff like that. Um, excuse me. So yeah, Captain America number 209. It's Arnim Zola, the Biofanatic, written and drawn by Jack Kirby.
And edited.
Yes. And I love the stuff that he writes as well because it's so bonkers. But this is the first appearance of Arnim Zola, who's a major Cap villain.
Wow, yeah, the biofanatic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can explain what he looks like.
He's a guy. He's got a robot body with like it looks like a security cam for a head, and on his chest is a screen that shows his face.
Yeah,
I love it. It's so weird.
yeah. I didn't like it at first, but now it's cool. The Kirby effect is really great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cap goes down to the Rio de Muerte, River of Death. But I thought that was the River of Death was Willamette River.
Well,
But
I think didn't the Willamette River like catch fire? You ever heard about that story?
no.
I think it happened like earlier in the 20th century,
Oh,
but it did happen.
I wasn't in town that day.
That's true.
Um,
That's in Portland, Oregon, for
yeah.
those of you not
Yeah.
local.
Right. Kirby really likes, especially for his females, to look in fearful wonder or awe.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
a very common
Yeah.
picture of what he does with the
Oh,
woman,
yeah.
and that's kind of cool.
And he draws these. I mean, I love the curvy women that he draws. They're
Yeah.
just
I wasn't
beautiful.
going to mention that.
Well, I'm sorry, I beat you to
My
it.
wife listens to this.
Yeah, but he's Caps with this character Donna Maria, who I think he met on this trip because I'm prior to this story I'm unfamiliar with her, or later.
Okay. So now we have the weirdest. Is this the weirdest creature in comic bookdom? I'm not sure.
The Doughboy.
Yeah.
It is weird, but it's Arnim Zola's creation, so it's gonna be Mondo Bizarro.
Man, okay. It's big. It's like
Make it like a lump
Jabba
of,
the Hutt, except he's totally round.
and he's like a lump of silly putty almost.
Yeah, and he can turn himself into a flying saucer and carry people around and travel at great speeds. So.
And he does. And Zola kidnaps Cap and Donna Maria, and they take off inside the Doughboy.
Yeah. It's the Falcon is looking for Cap, and let's see, Shield is asking their girlfriends about him, and they decide to go help look for Cap as well.
Yeah.
And that's about yeah, Cap gets his butt kicked and
Yeah,
by
but-
another creature.
Yeah, and
He
and in
likes
the
the girl, so
yeah, and Zola kind of reveals not only his origins but his plans, his genetic.
yes, we do get an origin story, and it's very creepy. So.
Do you want to go into detail about that?
No.
No, you just want to say
Okay.
Zola's origin's creepy. Okay.
No, well, he experiments and kills people and all kinds of stuff. It's
Yeah,
kinda-
and just makes monsters basically.
Mhm. He makes these monsters. Oh, he makes these monsters, and sometimes they turn out bad. So they have a picture of him shooting a gun at them, and I don't know. It's kind of sad and creepy, but really well drawn.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kirby,
Kirby,
the
yeah.
king of comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I enjoy this. And then we've got the subplot of the Falcon coming back, and I don't remember how he
Yeah.
figures into this because we have this story arc as it fulfills itself.
yeah, my wife was looking at me reading this, and she said that image is very Freudian. So,
Which image?
that one?
Oh, this panel on the second to last page.
Yeah.
It's the Falcon flying into.
Yeah, the other Freudian.
Oh.
the staff Freudian. But,
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Maybe not.
Maybe it'll come to me later.
Okay.
But oh yeah, Falcon's got his wings now at this point. So
Right.
yay.
Mhm. Yeah, it kind of looks. Never mind. Okay, I shouldn't say anything.
Okay.
We do have a
Another fruit pie ad.
yeah,
And this one's with the Hulk.
right, and it's forget me nets. This guy puts up these nets and they forget who they are, So that makes Hulk mad. So he destroys the net and gives everybody Twinkies. So
Yay, that's nice. And yes, more people eating Twinkies with their tongues out.
yeah,
Um,
it's the law, I guess.
apparently. But I would notice that, and all of those fruit, no matter what pastry those ads are selling, fruit pies or whatever, there's always some at the end, with their tongue out
Yeah.
when they're eating it. That is
hmm
something.
Licking their lips.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I was gonna say Twinkie because I'm not gonna. I don't care what this host is. It's all Twinkies. So
okay, I mean, I just think fruit
it's all.
pies, but
Yeah. Okay. Well,
because
Twinkies.
those I would eat. I don't like Twinkies.
I can eat them, but they're not. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. but oh.
So yeah.
But Twinkies is funny. So it bends, but it doesn't break
Yeah.
anything.
So
Um.
but we've got some issues of Action Comics to talk about, and before we get into that, that new Superman movie is coming out this week, The Man of Steel,
hmm
and as I think you know, Kevin Costner is playing Pa Kent in the
hmm
movie, and you've got this really interesting story from your life about Kevin Costner. I was really hoping you'd share it on the show, Jeff.
Okay. A buddy of mine is a cartoonist. I'm not going to say his name, but he went down to
Maybe you could use
Houston.
the work, the
No,
plug. Okay.
I don't know if I have his permission. So,
Okay.
or am I? But he's down in Houston for the cartoonist convention, and they're filming A Perfect World. Has Kevin Costner and Clint Eastwood. So they're hanging around the hotel and they're looking for the celebrities, and they meet Clint Eastwood, class act gentleman. So I haven't seen Kevin Costner. So it was last night, and everybody's kind of drunk, and the they get in the elevator, and in comes Kevin Costner. And he looks at them, and he sees their name tags of cartoonists, and he says, "Y'all think y'all so big because you can fill a box in a newspaper." So someone, one of the cartoonists says, "We loved you in the Big Chill." He plays a corpse in the Big Chill. So a fight almost ensued.
And that's great.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I think, a lot of people's image of Kevin Costner is that, oh, I bet he's a nice man. And, he always plays these, morally righteous, characters.
I don't. Sometimes when you get an opinion of somebody and you don't know how long you've had it, so I'm not sure I've ever thought that. I've never been a huge fan, and some of his movies are great or
Yeah.
fun, but I don't know. But I did not like the idea of him being. Is it going to be Paul Kent? You said it.
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
Oh, well, we'll be able to live with it, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So,
At
but,
least it isn't Robin Williams. Who I will not watch a Robin Williams movie.
okay.
That makes my wife mad. But
What if Robin Williams played like Mixix-Pitalik?
oh my God! Get thee behind me, Satan. No. Okay.
Okay.
Let's go back to more important stuff.
Comics.
Superman and Amazo's big breakthrough.
Oh, yes, and this is Action Comics number 480. Yes, Amazo's Big Breakthrough. It's written by Cary Bates, blech, and with art by the great Kurt Swan. This is pretty well written, though.
I liked it, and I like the old style and clean look of it, and it looked like it could be done in the 50s in Silver Age.
Yeah.
Except, I mean,
Well,
the
and
drawing style and all
and
that.
they're using Amazo, who is a classic Silver Age villain, and they haven't changed the costume. He looks like he did then, so I can see why it kind of recaptures some of that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's awful name, cool character though.
Yeah. I like
Um,
Amazo a lot.
oh, here's a quote I love. Amazo hits the crap out of no, he bitch smacks him. And Superman says how humiliating it is to be hit by my own super strength.
That's true, because if you're listening and don't know, Amazo absorbs or copies the powers of all super beings that he comes into contact with. And so he has the powers of all of the original Justice League. Well, actually, I think everyone who had been in the Justice League at that point, because he uses Elongated Man's powers later.
Mhm.
So,
And
yeah. So Amazo is deactivated, and he's stored on the JLA satellite, which is such a dumb place to put him. You'd think they
Yeah.
would have just taken him apart and put him in different places, which they
or
did years
just
later.
destroy him. He's a robot.
Yeah.
Robots do not have feelings. Well, I guess
Yeah.
they do this time, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel bad about
yeah,
taking apart my TV. What's but
yeah. But Amazo is reactivated by like red solar radiation or something like that, and he's Superman happens to be on monitor duty at the satellite, which you almost never see. He and Batman almost always skip out of monitor duty,
hmm.
um, because they're Superman and Batman.
Yeah, and Batman would take longer to get up there. Superman.
Well, they use boom tube technology
Oh, okay.
to get up there. It's either boom tube or the Zeta beam from like the tech
Okay.
from Adam Strange. I can't
Okay.
remember,
All right.
but they
Well,
teleport up there in some way
mhm.
or another. Um,
But the red um, sun blast, whatever it was, it's hurting Superman. So Superman's weaker.
yeah, he's losing his powers, and he's got to fight Amazo alone because Amazo subdues the Justice League and sends them to like another dimension.
Right. And we get some good exclamations.
Nice cameos from Hawkman and Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's see. There's Suffering Sappho. Sappho?
Sappho, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Excuse
right.
me.
We see
Holy
everybody.
Hannah, Great Guardian, and Flares of Polaris.
Wow.
What did
Oh, that's
you
right.
say?
Because that's right. All the whole league's there. We got the Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Red Tornado and Black Canary, Green Arrow and Elongated Man.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah.
But Superman apparently has a dictation machine
Yeah.
that's extraordinarily complex.
I love how it writes so big on this big pad of giant paper or metal or something in Kryptonese.
Oh, I didn't know that was Kryptonese, or was that when they show.
Shorthand.
Well, then when they show writing and you're not supposed to read it, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Nope.
I read neither one.
Well, okay.
But it's I thought it was enjoyable, and Amazer's a good villain, and
Oh yeah.
but he just wants to sleep,
Yeah, and he wants revenge on his creator, Professor Ivo, who he thinks has reactivated him, because Ivo created him for crime and to destroy the Justice League. Well,
Mhm.
Ivo's gone straight at this point, and he's like, trying to contact Superman to protect him from Amazo.
Yeah.
So that's a cool plot point, and
Mhm.
and this issue ends with Amazo and finding Superman and Ivo, and he's about to, you know, take him out.
Yeah,
Um,
and Superman just ready to bear it. There's
Yeah.
nothing he can do. He's just standing tall, ready to be.
Yeah, Amazo used the heat vision to melt the pavement, and so have Superman stuck because he's weaker now. He can't just yank himself out.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool issue, and we have the next part of this as well.
First,
Oh,
Superman versus Muhammad Ali.
I love these house ads, and this was one of those big treasury editions. They're like, wow, it's great while you're reading it, but where am I going to store this?
Oh yeah, man.
Like, what a great idea, but it's like no, no.
Yeah. You use for wallpaper. I don't know.
I mean, that'd be great if they just did those as a series of 80-page giants
Hmm.
instead of but in regular size. The treasury format is awful.
Well, it would be. You can make it good if you just made it full of posters.
Sure.
That'd be
And you
great.
just yank out posters and put them.
Or nice splash pages or something.
Yeah, as an
that'd be
art
cool.
book.
Yeah.
But as for something that you would want to store or carry around or you go anywhere,
Man, it's already nerdy enough. To carry something that big.
Yeah.
You couldn't hide it behind.
well, yeah, I mean the
Whole
whole
story,
the whole greatness of comics is like, oh, you could fold it up and put it in your back pocket if
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to, or you could take it anywhere. They're pretty portable. But the treasury edition, no,
Yeah.
you gotta have a big grocery sack to put it in or something. So it's no good. But it's not. It is nice to look at art on those big pages. So that's cool. But anyway, so we have the next part of this Amazo story. It's Action Comics number 481,
Mm-hmm.
and the story is it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Supermobile, and Carrie Bates and Kurt Swan wrote.
I said, yay, the sequel. Oh, the Supermobile.
I swear this story was made to sell a toy.
Oh, and I would have bought this toy.
It was a toy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I lived too deep. I was born too late or early or something. Man. It's pretty cool. I do not like the fist on the side.
It makes it look like a toy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but anyway,
the
Superman's.
design's cool though.
Let me get back into the story though.
Mhm.
Superman's lost his powers. How does he escape the concrete while Amazo's gonna hit
Oh,
him?
he takes this pill that transports him, say by
Oh,
automatic teleport, um, oh,
to the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, that's
activator.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I was kind of ticked off at that, but oh
I
well.
thought that, yeah, it's kind of a bad plot device.
Mm-hmm.
But they escape. He and Professor Ivo escape to the Fortress of Solitude, and they see, the supermobile he's created because Superman's now lost his powers
Mm-hmm.
because of that red solar radiation. And okay, you have a supermobile, but the fact that it's covered in Superman symbols is kind of like, why? Did you need to remind that it was yours?
Um,
It's just like, here's the sticker, the decal on the toy that they're gonna make.
yeah.
Um,
But it's made of Supermanium.
oh man, it is.
I love that
I
part.
have never heard of the metal supermanium before this
Man,
story,
I
and
want
I
to
hope.
invent a metal and we'll call it Supermanium. Either that or weird metal. Um,
Yeah,
but I like the design of that except for the stupid hands. But
yeah.
oh, am I supposed to be mad about it's a toy thing? No, I won't. I don't mind cool tie-ins. I want the art to make money, so they'll continue making art. And I don't want to. A lot. Once or twice is fine. If they did this every issue, that would be bad. Or they
Yeah.
did it more often. Every once in a while, it's okay. But uh,
Occasional pandering is alright. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
yeah. Um. Oh. Mazo uses just green.
The Green Lantern's powers
Yeah,
to.
and he makes a drill, a sledgehammer, and a fist to go after the supermobile. And I was amused. Oh man.
It's always great to see Amazo in action fighting. What's this scene though where there's a scene, a one-page scene where the Justice League are conferring with each other and they're trapped in this other dimension. They're able to observe Superman's battle with
Mhm.
Amazo.
Yeah. And they feel impotent because they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So, but why they allowed to watch it? They're wondering about that. So it's
Yeah.
amazing letting them look at it.
It's probably to gloat or rub it in. That's a typical supervillain trope.
Yeah.
Amazo's got a lot more personality in this than I remember. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, he's really cool. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they're going to the very end. It's a cliffhanger, and they've got all of his pals, and they're going to
Which pals?
Superman's pals. Who else?
Oh,
And
that's
they're
right.
about
He's
to,
got Jimmy and Lois and Perry, and yeah, it's the Daily Planet staff are held hostage. Oh, and Professor Ivo, I think, held hostage by Amazo.
Mhm.
And Superman's got to give himself up, or these people are gonna die.
Yeah. Um, One thing I noticed that the Supermobile. Oh, the Supermobile had a yellow aura, then it turned green. So what's up with that? The yellow aura stopped the green attack,
Oh yeah,
the Green Lantern attack.
yeah.
So I don't know if that was a mess up or what.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Another good quote. You possess even more impudence than I gave you credit for. I'm going to use that against my students.
That's a
So.
great line. I like that.
Hmm.
So we're taking a trip back into the Silver Age, which I know is your favorite period for Superman. We've got Action Comics number 273, and the lead story is The World of Mr. Mxyzptlk. Art by Kurt Swan, and I don't know who wrote it. There's not a lot of credits for this era, unfortunately. It's either Kurt Swan or Wayne Boring, but it looks.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's
so
I think it's
awesome.
Swan. But this story, Superman, fed up with the constant pranks of Mxyzptlk, first of all, plays a prank on him in our world,
Yeah.
and I'll let you get into that. But then he travels to the fifth dimension and pulls gags on Mxyzptlk. It's funny.
Yeah,
How does this start out?
Mix. Let's call him Mix.
Okay.
He gets a sneezing powder, and Superman comes by and all these people are sneezing, so Superman sucks it up, but he's got to go somewhere. So it goes to this uh, solar system and sneezes and destroys the solar system because it's a
Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of so
If he was powerful enough to suck up all that oxygen, how is it that he didn't suffocate those people? You know what I
oh,
mean?
he's Superman.
Okay.
Give me
I,
a break.
I always thought that like sneezing and blowing up a planet was pretty ridiculous,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but this is funny, you know. So
hmm And it's in a mixed eggs put a lick edition. I don't care.
anything goes with that. Okay.
Okay, so he Superman misses um, an important meeting or get together with an orphanage,
Oh
and
right.
and that really makes Superman mad. So so well he, okay, Superman has to get Mixes but look to say his name backwards, which is one of the most hardest things in the world. I don't know how I could get you to say your name backwards, but
Yeah.
he does it to Mix all the time.
Yeah.
But he does it by turning him blue. And Mix asks Clark Kent, of all people, how do I get it off? So Clark Kent sends him to this pharmacist who happens to be Superman as well. So, and I know. So the prescription says his name backwards, so he reads it out loud and he disappears.
Yeah.
Um,
Back
and
to the fifth dimension
Superman,
you
yeah,
go.
and Superman says, "Thank you for allowing me to introduce you, Mr. Druggist."
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
But then Superman decides, because of the whole orphanage thing, he's
Right.
gonna.
He misses the orphanage thing, so he goes back, and you can tell Superman's ticked because when he's moving through air, he cocks his leg up.
Oh yeah.
And that's when he's serious. He's going through super speed and really mad or something.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. I just never noticed that because you can just do straight
Yeah.
ahead, but I know when he cocks that leg, something's going to happen. So
Okay.
he goes into the fifth dimension and makes is running for office on the scatterbrain ticket.
Of course.
Oh man. He messes. One of the things he messes with the sign says, "Vote for Mix. Yes, put a lick if you want high taxes to go down." And then Superman changes it to, "Vote for Mix. Yes, put a lick if you want high taxes." Even in the fifth dimension, people don't like high taxes,
Right.
and so that really ticks him off. So there's a few other crazy things Superman does. So Mix tries to get rid of Superman the same way
Yeah.
Superman gets rid of Mix. Um, so there's all three different attempts. One is with he puts
A robot duplicate of Jimmy Olsen in this safe.
right, and the combination is Superman or backwards,
Right.
and Superman sees that, so he just rips off the door. So
And
then,
because he looked through the vault and realized it didn't have the signal watch, so he knew it wasn't the real Jimmy.
right. Couldn't he see through and see that he was a robot?
Well, that's a good point.
It's got X-ray vision. Then he plays Zip Bingo, and Mixture has put like
It's like Scrabble in the fifth dimension, but
but
yeah.
it's bingo and at the same time, and he got the game set up so he'll read his name backwards, and it doesn't work. So because Superman sees it. Then there's a dragon race, and the winner is going to be the backwards name of Superman.
Yeah.
So Superman says it, and nothing happens, and Mix is really
Confused and all that.
confused. And then he finds out that he lost the election, which was good. So then Superman turns his head and says something, and he says, "I'm going to say my name." He's backwards, and he says his name, but you couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Because his name is not Superman.
It's
His name is-"
Kal-El.
Yeah.
And he says Kal-El backwards to go back
which is
to.
Lee Lack.
That's right. I love that. And sticking it to Mixer's Pitalik is loads of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a backup story.
Yeah.
Supergirl. It is the Supergirl of Two Worlds.
Right.
And
Marvel made instead of Supergirl. This is on
there's
Terra.
there's a parallel Earth
Mhm.
called Terra, and it's very similar to Earth
Earth.
1, except there are a few differences, and whereas Supergirl was the the main superhero, and Superman is kind of her protege, and they're called Mighty Maid and Marvel Man,
Right.
right?
And at this time, Supergirl was kept under wraps.
Right.
So Superman thought she was not ready to be a superhero yet.
Yeah, and I believe this is
And Marvel Man is the same way in that.
yeah,
So
and this is a sly kind of the Marvel Man and Mighty Maid. To me, it makes me think of Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel.
Interesting.
But and I just want to mention, I think this story is written by Jim Shooter, and the art is I believe by Jim Mooney. So
Can't tell anything. So
yeah.
okay.
So yeah, what's the plot of this story?
Oh, wait. I actually been writing down the plots. So they switch for some reason. I forgot why.
Oh, because Supergirl wanted to prove to Superman that she was ready to no longer be his secret weapon, but she wanted to be public. And so she goes to take Mighty Maid's place and do some feats that she can use as examples.
Yeah.
And they mostly work, but some of them kind of backfire a little because of the differences between Earth 1 and Terra.
It's loads of fun, and actually, do you think about what differences in the world is? For one of the differences is that the bridges, instead of going up to lift ships, they go down.
Oh,
Ships
okay.
can go over, and drawbridges.
Sure.
And that's kind of cool.
Sure.
That's interesting.
They have like Mount Rushmore or someplace has Superman and Krypto.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it was nice. Oh, and there's a great thing. Pick a new hairstyle for Linda Lee.
There's a lot of
quotation parentheses Supergirl, in case you didn't know who she was.
It's a one-page filler, and a lot of the fan letters at the time were saying like, "Hey, let's update Linda's hairstyle. The braids looks like a little girl, and she's a teenager. I think she's at Stanhope College at this point. Give her a more appropriate hair look." And so I think they had Jim Mooney dream up some different hairstyles, and they wanted fans to write in what they preferred. And I believe it was the campus cuddle bun was the hairstyle that was eventually chosen.
I love the name. I never heard of that before.
Yeah.
The kitten cut calls this Streaky. And
Streaky the Super Cat.
And Lori Lamera's special is okay. And the Contempo cut is okay. Ponytail Sophisticate.
That's what she had currently at the time.
Does. Oh, no, this is Ponytail Sophisticate.
Oh,
Those are her braids. I thought she looked okay in braids. But,
yeah. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
That's so funny about Streaky the Super Cat. I think next week I've got an issue with. I know we have one with not only Streaky the Super Cat, but it's got Krypto and Comet the Super Horse.
Wow. No Super Monkey?
I try to remember if Beppo the Super Monkey is in that or not. In fact, I think there's 2 Comet the Super Horse stories next week.
I enjoy them.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. When I read his origin, it was so bizarre. So strange. And we'll talk about that next week.
Cool.
But so I am really excited about for the next 2 weeks we're surveying this other series, Arak, Son of Thunder. And it's a sword and sorcery book with a Native American hero raised by Vikings.
Fascinating subject. I love this. He's not a superhero. He's just a very good fighter.
Yeah.
And it's really, really cool. I super enjoy this.
Let me start off with this. We'll start with the Arak number 6, and the story is The Stalkers of the Snows, written by Roy Thomas and art by Ernie Colon. And these guys created Arak, and Roy Thomas, I think, wrote almost every issue of the series.
Yeah.
And ran for 50 issues, which is respectable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of a cult title, but...
Yeah, they shouldn't, man. Son of Thunder was... I don't like it, but the name...
Son of Thunder, you don't like it?
No, I don't. So,
okay.
but,
I think it's cool that he's like in the court of Charlemagne.
Oh, yeah. I like everything else. I just don't like that. And I think that
he's never referred to as Son of Thunder, really, that I've seen. They just call him Arak
Yeah,
or
they should have
Redskin
just
or
been called Arak, or the Viking, Indian Viking or something. I don't know,
the
something with
Indian Viking.
yeah, yeah,
That's why,
but
like, hey, instead of Superman, let's call him the guy who can do all that stuff.
yeah,
You know?
or something. But it's really cool. Nice look into medieval time. Oh, Carol. Charlemagne is really interesting. Um, this is just done well. I like his female companion Balda.
She's like Prince Valiant with boobs.
Right, Prince Valiant, drawn by Frazetta or something,
Yeah, sure.
and then it looks really cool. And she's a good character. She's real strong-willed, and although she probably likes Arak, but she doesn't show it. So
Well,
it's really.
right. Well,
Mhm.
you've got to, let things develop in a
But I'm
series.
glad they're letting it develop. That's
Yeah.
if it's a Hollywood movie, the first movie in the season, the series would be them falling in love, but they just take their time,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Interesting villains is people from White Cathay. They are
With
Cathay being
China. Cathay is
China.
China. So I
I don't
guess
know what White Cathay is,
I'm
but
thinking White Cathay is probably a colony of honkies in China.
all right. Interesting fights. He has to prove to Charlemagne or Carol.
Carolus Magnus, that is
Yeah,
Charlemagne.
Yeah, I forgot what name they use it in here.
Yeah.
Good sword fights, bloody.
Yeah.
But this is 1982, so
Yeah.
we see a picture of a guy getting his head bashed in by a horse hoof.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, another Hostess ad.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the Flash this time.
Mm-hmm. The Flash, Barry Allen's in a marathon, and so he's running, and this wizard is destroying the bridge. So the Flash comes on and gives him a Hostess Twinkie, and then fixes the bridge.
I think they're hoping the Hostess cupcakes, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's like, I'll decide, instead of destroying things, I'll just eat these cupcakes.
No tongue out this time.
Yeah.
So what's wrong?
I don't know.
Really well drawn.
Yeah.
What is this name of this?
The artist?
Malagigi.
Is the wizard that he's going to go and rescue.
Yeah, he's captured by White Cathay. So they go to Rome to the Pope. Wonderful picture of Valda getting on a horse.
Oh, yeah, that is really cool.
That is, stuff like that. It's little things.
She grabs the reins of a running horse, or the saddle of a running horse, and then kicks off with both legs together to kind of like lift her central mass. You can tell she's strong.
Yeah, and it's just super well drawn.
Yeah,
And,
Ernie Colon's a great artist.
Mm-hmm. All right, so they going on these snows and the Alps, and they're near where Hannibal marched, and some of his soldiers turn into vampires, and there is a frozen elephant, and so they get attacked by vampires, and
as Arak and Valda fight these vampires, one of them gets impaled on the elephant's tusk. That's how they kill a vampire.
yeah, it's kind of interesting.
It's a really cool story.
Yeah, one of the vampires bites him and nothing happens. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. That if there's a resolution to that, I don't know. But I think in a lot of things it's not like in some vampire stories it's they have to drain all of your blood or you have to die from the bite to then turn.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah, and I love that Roy Thomas really dug deep and in historical studies to write this series. I mean, obviously there's a lot of fantasy elements added, but he really tried to use historical settings and figures as real folks in these. So,
yeah, there were some nasty letters talking about Byzantine. I saying, "How dare you? Byzantine was really important, and it wasn't that bad." And crying out.
Geez, let somebody write a story. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I can see complaining about it, but they're writing a letter in crying out. But no, they can't get on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, they do make the point that this isn't the real world that they changed. This is another world.
Yeah.
So they can mess around with it.
Well, right. I mean, we're not going to see vampires and dragons and things in a real historical context. And Arak wasn't a real person, so they're just setting him in taking many of the settings that are in our real history, and putting these fantasy elements in, telling a story. It's cool. So we have issue number 7 of Arak.
The next one.
Yes, it's a dark, unlighted place. Jerry Conway and Mike W. Barr wrote this issue, which is really cool. Both excellent writers, and art again by Ernie Colon. They're on the road. They're going to visit the Pope to get some help, and what's going on here?
They come into Rome, and they do a good job of showing how it's in ruins because the Roman Empire fell, and Arak makes some comments about that, and it's really neat. They meet this Jew gets getting beaten up by crowd, and
Arak for being a Jew.
And the Arak and Valda come and kick some butt, and so the guy is really thankful to them, and he comes back later. So they meet the Pope, who turns out to be a nice guy, which is
Holy Father, what a nice fella.
If it was done today, 30 years later, it'd probably be a bad guy or something like that.
Well,
but
I don't know. I think Pope Francis has a pretty positive image, public-wise.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Catholic Church is spat upon a lot, and I'm not Catholic, but I don't want anybody being treated badly in any. So
it's not right to treat people that way. So
but I thought that it was a nice design. I was surprised. Very well done. They have this. They take a bath together.
Arak and Valda.
Yeah, not the Pope.
Right,
but,
right.
It's really and Arak makes a comment, and Valda smacks him in one, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, she thinks he's making a pass at him, and he kind of is. But
it was harmless, I think. Although I'm not a girl, so maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
So, so the Pope is in a possession. He gets attacked by these weird white creatures that live in the catacombs underneath Rome.
Yeah.
Right. So Valda gets taken, and the Pope gets taken.
Arak
and they blame Arak. So.
Right. And Arak is hiding, and he encounters that Jew that he had rescued earlier.
He turns out to be the Wandering Jew.
Yes, from folklore.
Yeah. And a very nicely done backstory to that. I was really impressed.
And I had forgotten all about the Wandering Jew. It was just kind of a story that I had caught pieces of in passing. But
I'm not sure if I've ever seen the Wandering. I've seen it mentioned, but I've never seen the Wandering Jew as a character or anything.
I don't think I have either. I kind of had a vague concept of the story. That it's a story that's told, but
the story is that he sees the crucifixion of Christ, and he makes a joke about it, and Christ says, "You will wander until I come back," and that's
the only problem I have with that story is Christ doesn't put curses on people, and that's what that is. So that's kind of awful. But for a character in a fictional story, whatever.
I wonder what the story is about. I mean,
I need to look it up, and I intended to do a little
the
research.
internet.
Yes.
That'll be later. So he meets the Black Pope.
Arak does.
Yeah.
And he's this creepy albino guy, and
So that looks like it's going to be
the cliffhanger there.
Yeah, and we
skip a little forward.
Darn it.
Sorry. I actually may have issue number 8 at home. If I have, I'll bring it so you can read that.
Right.
But we've got Arak number 16, and the story is called, the lead story is called Monster in Mosaic, written by Roy Thomas, again, yay! And art by Adrian Gonzalez and Alfredo Alcala. These are a couple of those Filipino guys that I kept telling you. There's all these guys that came along in the 70s and really blew up at DC. Yeah. Jerry Talowak, who you said you really liked, another cat from there. But
Arak is back. He's got a mohawk.
Yeah, he got a haircut. I think the middle section of the series is when he had the mohawk, and then he went back to long hair.
Yeah, I don't like Mohawks that much.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you gotta live
He's
with
with
it.
this character who's a centaur or
A
something.
satyr.
Satyr.
And I hate that he's called Satyricus. It's like if you're a person, you don't call yourself Personicus or
Yeah.
Humanicus.
I do.
Well, yeah.
But oh, they go to Byzantium, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Although I like the name Constantinople better. So,
Yeah.
because it's in a cool song.
Oh, Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah.
Might be giants. Fun.
Yeah. They didn't write the song, and it's an older song. But,
Oh, is it?
yeah. Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was their original. I didn't know
No.
that. It's a cover?
Yeah.
Oh,
hmm
slap me. Anyway.
So he meets. They're on the lookout for
Malagigi.
Balda and Malagigi. Is that
Oh,
pronounced-
that's right. Because their eternal quest is to rescue Malagigi, their friend, from White Cathay.
Mhm.
But that's right. Valda has been captured at this point too. So Satyricus is with Arak. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we go into a Game of Thrones type thing because there's this evil counselor and the Queen Mother Regent who lost her position, then came back.
Yeah.
She's kind of in control of it, and then this weak son who's
Kind
he's
of
not a Joffrey as bad as Joffrey. Actually, he might be worse because he's more intelligent.
Oh, okay.
But he's looking for a wife, and then comes Valda, and he's smitten with her.
Sure.
So they the emperor sends him into the water, and this mosaic comes alive to a monster. It's kind of a cool concept.
And Arak's got to fight this monster underwater, which is pretty rad.
Yeah, that's neat.
Doesn't Arak claim Valda as his own and say that's why the guy can't have her as his wife?
Right.
Right.
And Valda says she's already married to the sword.
Right.
Hmm.
That's Freud for you.
Yeah. Okay. I like this read the next one called Greek Fire.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So as a cliffhanger, there's a backup story with Valda that takes place before the Arak series, and this is let me look at my notes. Oh yes, A Day at the Fair, and Roy Thomas and Danette Thomas wrote it. Danette being Roy's wife.
Oh.
Which is really cool. They kind of plotted and wrote the bulk of this series together. Pretty cool, huh?
I wonder if that's ever happened before or since.
Well, there's Glynis Wein, who was the wife of Len Wein, and I think there are a couple other examples.
Yeah, I wonder how many are not. I wonder how many writers or cartoonists had their wives help them, but didn't give them any credit.
In fact, I want to say that Carl Kessel, he and his wife worked together in comics, and Frank Miller, he and his wife worked together in comics. She was a colorist. So this happens, actually. It's not all that uncommon,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Before we go, there's a Sergeant Rock toys.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had no idea. I was shocked.
Oh, really? Yeah, Remco, the home of crap toys, had a Sergeant Rock line. They also had the Warlord, which is a series we'll talk about in a few months. But
I don't know. I wonder if they look so haggard like they do in the comics.
I've seen the toys, and they look like crummy G.I. Joes. Really, it doesn't look like Sergeant Rock. It doesn't look like Joe Kubert, like drew it.
Like crap. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
But the Valda story.
Okay. Day at the Fair.
Art again by Adrian Gonzalez and Alfredo Alcala.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Valda's at the fair, and this.
With Malagigi.
Oh, is that Malagigi?
Yeah. Remember, this takes place before the Arak series.
Yeah.
So.
She meets this dwarf, and who sells her this wonderful white elephant.
And it's a baby elephant. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous and well drawn too.
Yeah. Oh no, I love the art.
But unfortunately, it's stolen, so she has to fight a bunch of
Saracens. I love that term.
Yeah,
we don't call them that now. We should.
Too bad. I would be proud to be a Saracen.
Yeah, that name is great.
Mm-hmm.
But she got to fight the Saracens, and Malagigi uses magic and blah 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 to beat them. But it turns out she bought the elephant from the dwarf for Charlemagne, but the Saracens brought the elephant as a gift for Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Womp 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 womp.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So she beats him up, and everything's settled. So when they're leaving, they see these beggars, and Malagigi tells Valda to give them some money. So she gives him some money, and it turns out it was one of the
It's the dwarf.
dwarf.
And
So
this,
he wins.
yeah. And this dwarf
Hmm.
is a recurring character. He shows up throughout the series periodically.
Hmm.
But yeah, these are the first Arak issues that I've read, but I may have to like hunt up the series in its entirety. It's not collected in trade.
No.
I know, so I've got to get the individual issues, but that's okay. Sometimes that's fun. I prefer to have trades,
Yeah,
but
now you're on the hunt. So
yeah, but
and it's
it's
kind of
okay.
fun to be on the hunt for something.
Yeah, it'll be cool to get the set. So yeah, that's cool too. And I think part of the show is like, yeah, go dig out the more obscure things that aren't traded and
Hmm.
look for them. There's great stuff there because there's actually a lot of great comics that are not traded. A lot of
Yeah.
great stuff.
Really? Yeah.
Certain things that well, like if it has a lot of things that have ties to a licensed property don't get traded. Like for example, the Master from Marvel. Here's two examples: the Master of Kung Fu,
Hmm.
not traded because of the Fu Manchu um, rights. They can't reprint that, and
Oh.
that's a pretty important part of the origin in that series.
Hmm.
So they're not going to just do it like some of the issues and not all of them. So
Fascinating.
and also Rom Space Knight. He was
Hmm.
they were Parker Brothers approached Marvel to do a comic based on this toy they were coming out with,
Hmm.
and then the comic became really popular, and it was a series that ran for 60 odd issues.
Hmm.
Um, I think the last dozen or so of them were done by the art was by Steve Ditko.
Wow.
Yeah, which I really want to read those. But yeah, Rom, it's a very popular character, but they can't reprint him,
Hmm.
so people have to just go and get the issues.
Huh.
And it
Okay.
sucks because they can't incorporate him in any other Marvel stories.
There's got to be a reasonable way out of that.
Well,
And
it's like, geez, can't Marvel just buy the rights to use him from
yeah,
Parker Brothers? Parker Brothers isn't doing anything with Rom.
yeah, it infuriates me. And what's the most infuriating thing in the world is you can't watch the original Batman series on DVD unless you go to Japan or something like that. And I
Yeah,
want a nice Blu-ray um, uh,
with
pack with options and
lots
and
of extras.
extras. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I told you there's high quality bootlegs. I can get it. The sound and picture quality is good. You're just not gonna get the
No.
extras, and it's a boot. But I can get it for you
No.
for like
Yeah.
$25.
But it's lawyers are present. That's a problem.
Bah, I can go to iOffer and just search Batman and you'll find it. But
Well.
anyway,
Okay.
speaking
Speaking
of
of which.
Batman, we've got Batman number 279, and this is your favorite Bat villain, the Riddler on the Rampage.
Yeah, and I have a argument that he's probably the most important villain to
Okay,
Batman.
make your argument.
Okay, you told me this, that Batman was almost dead before the show came out.
Correct.
Okay, and um, in the Batman TV show came out, um, Frank Ocean, I think, was one of the first ones to be. He played the Riddler,
In the
and
very first story, he's the
yeah,
first villain on the
and
show. And he was a major villain.
yeah, and it made it a hit, and that's what all the other villains kind of went off on his portrayal. He got that portrayal from Richard Widmark in Kiss of Death, where Richard Widmark plays Tony Udo, who is this giggling, vicious murderer, and this, if I can remember, so, you know what we do at Squealers, huh? We shoot in the belly and let them roll around and think it over. This one of the creepiest villains ever. I would rather spend time with the Joker in real and than with Tony Udo. It is
Yikes.
one of the greatest villains, and Frank Gorshin used that. Well, the guy takes this woman in a wheelchair, grandma, and throws her down the stairs and laughs maniacally. And that's a laugh that Frank Gorshin uses. And and when Frank Gorshin made the Riddler, it made it popular. And this is the first time adults could watch comic books or have anything to do with comic books and talk about it to their friends. All the adults were watching this show,
Yeah.
and
And
it's the
more
first
so,
time the comics were for adults. It used to be it was like a dirty secret. If
well,
you're,
right. Even more than the Adventures of Superman show, because this
Mhm.
actually used villains from the comics.
Yeah, and it was kind of bifurcated. The action for the kids who didn't know better, and all the goofy puns and silliness for
Yeah.
the adults.
See, when I know it's played very tongue in cheek and it's
Hmm.
supposed to be a joke, but when I was a kid, I didn't pick up on that and I thought it was serious.
Oh, I did too.
And it's so funny. A lot of people say that, and I loved the original Batman show when I was watching it in the late '80s in
Mhm.
reruns. Um, Gosh, I just had so much fun. I loved King Tut. I know he was made up for the series, but he
Yeah.
was really fun.
Uh-huh.
A couple of those made up ones like Egghead with
Oh,
Vincent
I
Price.
like Vincent Price. I mean, it's not great, but it's Vincent Price. So I can
Yeah.
watch him read the phone book.
Yeah,
Um, but it saved Batman,
sure.
and
And it may have saved comics in a way.
yeah, I don't think comics would have been the same.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that the popularity of the Batman show, because it was huge, it was definitely more popular than the Adventures of Superman, which was a hit show.
mhm.
It definitely just raised the profile for comics in general. I think it
Mhm.
helped the entire medium. So yeah, it's great.
Given that, and I think that's why. I mean, but he's much more. The problem with him, if he commits a crime, he has to make a riddle. And even when he tried to not make riddles, he sleepwalked and make riddles. And I read that one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. But let's talk about this story, Riddler on the Rampage. David V. Reed wrote it, and we've got art by Ernie Chan and text Blaisdell.
Hmm.
Um,
The Riddler decides to give him so many riddles that they're confounded. And, oh, it's
yeah, Batman and Robin here.
mhm. Doesn't work. But I like the riddles. They're kind of clever.
Yeah, this was a really fun issue. It's loads of fun and a nice one and done story.
Hmm.
Yeah. I appreciate those.
Nothing to talk about. Except they're just pretty dang cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't like. I prefer the suit and tie Riddler
Yeah,
leotard.
me too. The leotard is like, no. But
It's okay.
I like the three-piece suit Riddler as well. That's preferable to me.
Mhm.
But this is a fun story. I mean, it's corny, but it reminds me of why I love the original Batman show. I loved the Riddler was such a big deal when I was a kid because it's like, oh, Batman is the detective. He's got to solve all these
Mhm.
riddles,
Yeah.
and that was like, wow, Batman's really smart.
Yeah.
I loved that. And then he goes and kicks butt, and the Riddler was really impressive when you were a kid.
What an impressive way to show someone smart is to give them riddles and
Yeah.
if you can figure out the riddle. Oh, I'm smart, but
Yeah.
I rarely do. I'm afraid to say.
I think riddles have kind of gone the way of hobbits as far as.
Too bad.
But
Too bad. It's super enjoyable. I loved it. Yeah.
yeah, the plot is so cliche and so corny in that comic, but you're smiling the entire time.
Mhm.
It's really fun.
And what goofball thing will happen next?
Yeah.
That's why we like these comics. Silver Age, Golden Age, Cubic Zirconium Age. They're all good to go.
I think this is the Bronze Age we're in presently, but
No, I don't know.
I know I mean,
So-
as far as reading. But
Yeah.
so we've got one more Batman. This is the last issue of the episode. We've got it's Batman number 289. The story is The Sign of the Skull, written by David V. Reed, with art by Mike Grell and Vince Colletta. Mike Grell, of course, the Warlord and Green Arrow fame. I'm not sure I like David V. Reed very much as a writer, though. And this story was, what do you want to say?
It was interesting, creepy villain.
Yeah.
I wonder if anhedonia, which is this disease.
Anhedonia is real.
Is it real?
Yeah, we talk about it in Psych. Yeah.
I'll be darned. Okay. Hey.
It's
Check out the big brain on
yeah.
that.
It's like a flat affect, lack of emotion, and there's more to it. I need to refer to
the
something.
incapacity to experience joy, is that it?
I think it's part of it. I need to refer back to some stuff, but as I recall, this is fairly accurate.
Oh, this guy named
Oh, the name was
Cosmo Duggar, man. But he takes the he invents this device, and when someone's having a really good time, like they're hitting a home run, he zaps them, kills them, and takes the joy and sucks it up. And
Oh, it's the
yeah.
70s. So many ESP weird stories like that.
um, yeah, and psychology and all that stuff, and uh, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. If Batman figures out it's murder because it leaves a tiny skull.
It makes
when
me
you
think
get
of the Phantom. After he punched
right,
somebody, the ring would always leave a skull mark on, or he'd put the mark on him, like, "Oh, the
right,
Phantom was here."
hmm
You know.
yeah. It's kind of dark because Batman puts on the guy's helmet where he experiences the pleasure and all that stuff, and it messes up Batman so bad that he feels pain a lot, and
Oh, like every time he moves, he's
mm,
punching guys, and he's feeling pain instead of like, "Aha!" Like,
mm,
I just broke your face. You know.
yeah,
Yeah, it is weird, and it's weird to see Batman experience that.
yeah. Very nice panel with Bang, and it's showing Superman, excuse me, Batman being hurled across the
Yeah, I love when
thing.
you see the panel is the background is the sound effect, and then there's your character, the figure is going across it. I love when you see things like that. That's clever. That's a great thing you see
Yeah.
in comics.
Um.
I wish movies did that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
But it's cool to see Batman try to overcome this, like he's in pain while he's trying to fight bad guys.
Right.
Um,
It's kind of kind of a neat little thing. I liked it. Um. What else? Oh, it's at the very end of the show. Batman is almost comatose. Oh, he is comatose, and
yeah.
so what's going to happen next? I didn't like the way it was drawn that much, and there's
Yeah.
some neat stuff in there,
I
and
like Meg Grell, but I think a lot of people don't like Vince Coletta's inks, and that may be a contributing thing. But
mm,
um,
I
I
kind of like
like
in
Mike
some
Grell, and
places.
sometimes I don't. I mean, it
Yeah, in the same
depends.
page, in the same panel. Like I like
Yeah,
this or don't like that. I mean,
yeah. This is what year is this?
1977.
Interesting. Well, it's only a couple years later where he gets a lot better. When you look at the bulk of the Warlord series,
Mm-hmm.
when the stuff that Grell's doing, it looks a lot. It's more Neil Adamsy, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's
Hmm.
his style is really developed to where hit its peak at that point. So
Yeah. One thing I am doing differently is I'm writing down the plot. Because a lot of times I say, what happens? And then and then the comic is, uh-oh. There's a fight, or somebody's wearing costumes. I don't know.
yeah,
And so when you're reading a lot of these, they kind of meld together. So I'm writing down the plots
yeah,
so I can tell you when you spring that on me
yeah.
unexpectedly.
Well, I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, so
But
I think that's it for today.
okay. That was a good one. I enjoyed all of them really.
Yay!
But the Arak is super awesome.
I know, and we have more Iraq for next week.
Cool.
So
And
until then.